I want to introduce you to another important concept in Python and programming in general, lists. Why are lists important? We often want to group similar things together so that we can perform operations on them. For example, Instagram keeps a list of the people that are following you so that they can display it on your profile. Or think about your messaging app. You have a list of people that have sent you messages, as well as a list of messages that you have sent. Whenever we need to organize information and access it in a specific order, we turn to lists. Declaring a list in Python is really easy. We separate our values with commas and wrap them in square brackets. Here are 4 examples of lists in Python. The first one is just a list of numbers. The second one is a list of strings. We can also combine different data types, which is what I have done in this third example of a list, where we have both numbers and strings. You can even make a list containing other lists. Here, we have a list that contains 2 lists. If we want to access the individual elements of a list, we use something called an index. An index is just the position of an individual element. In most programming languages and Python, we start counting indexes at 0. Therefore, the first element of a list is said to have index 0. Let's try to print the first element of the pizza toppings list. In order to do that, we'll use our print function, call the list, and then access it using the square brackets again and index 0. Let's save our program and run it. As you can see, the program output the first element of the pizza toppings list. You can also count backwards from the end of the list if you want to access the last element of the list. The last element of the list is said to have index -1. So if we want to print pepperoni, we can do that by changing this 0 to a -1. Let's save and run it. We're now outputting pepperoni. If you make a mistake and try to access an index that doesn't exist, Python will give you an index error. Let's give that a try. The pizza toppings list only has 2 elements, so let's try to access index 2. Remember, we start counting from 0. Save it and run it. You can see that Python has given us an index error and tells us that the list index that we tried to access is out of range. To avoid getting index errors, it can be helpful to know exactly how many elements are in your list. To do this, we can use the len function. Let's print the length of the pizza toppings list. Save and run. You can see that Python has output the number 2, which is the number of elements that are in the pizza toppings list. Lists are mutable in Python, and that means that we can change them. Let's do that by adding some toppings to our list of pizza toppings. For example, I like pineapple on my pizza. Pizza toppings dot append, and then the string pineapple. Let's go ahead and print the whole list to see what it now looks like. Save and run. You can see that our pizza toppings list now contains the string pineapple in addition to cheese and pepperoni. Notice that pineapple was added at the end of the list. You don't always need to add at the end of the list, and you can in fact tell Python exactly where you want to insert something into your list. In addition to pineapple, let's also add mushrooms to our list of pizza toppings, but let's try to put it at the beginning of the list. To do that, we tell Python to insert, we tell it which index we want to insert, and then we give it the element that we want to insert. Let's save and run, and you can see that our pizza toppings list now contains both mushrooms at the beginning and pineapple at the end. It is also possible to remove items from a list. We can do that using the delete function. Type del, then the name of the list, and the index that you want to remove. Let's go ahead and print the list again. Save it, run it. We no longer have mushrooms on the list because we deleted index 0. If you want to remove items from the end of the list, you can use a function called pop. Take the list and run .pop. Let's print our list again. Save it and run. We're now back to our original pizza toppings of just cheese and pepperoni. There is one final way to remove elements from a list that I want to show you. We can tell Python to remove specific elements from a list. For example, if I don't want cheese anymore, let's type pizza toppings dot remove and pass in the string cheese. Save it, we'll print it, and run it. Now the list only contains pepperoni. One thing to keep in mind when using remove is that Python will only remove the first instance of the string that you passed in. So, for example, let's recreate our variable pizza toppings, but have cheese appear more than once in the list. When we do pizza toppings.remove and then print our pizza toppings, save, and run, we still have one instance of cheese because it only removed the first one. Now that you know how to create and modify lists, give it a try on your own. Create a list of places you want to visit in the world, or list your favorite TV shows, or maybe the names of your friends and family. Try adding and removing items and printing them to the screen. See if you can access the individual items on the list. You got this.